Hey team, guess who's back with more thoughts on Clancy? Listen, when I made that reaction video, I stayed up until 4 a.m. I was exhausted, I was tired, and I don't know if I was fully at myself to give this album a proper review. So we took some time to fully process this, wrote down some thoughts, and I want to share them with you now. So just like I did with my previous review, we're going to do some overall thoughts, and then we're going to do track by track, and then I will give my top 3. Overall, the thing that I was impressed with most with this album was Tyler's ability to be authentic. Now, that's not me saying he hasn't been authentic in the past. One of the things I love about this band is that they are very real, very genuine. Of course, when you're dealing with topics that 21 Pilots deal with, there is this kind of calling to be legitimate. And it seems to be like a whole new layer of that with the things that Tyler decided to share. To me, it felt more personal, kind of more specific with the issues that he was tackling. And I just want to thank him for wanting to share that. He was also calling everybody out. He was very honest this album with his feelings, with what he's going through, but also with how he felt about people. Skeleton Icy haters, the music industry, the people that say Josh Dunn can't ever drum in a normal place. There was a lot of call outs in this album. And of course there was the normal experimental sound that 21 Pilots have. They never like to stay in one spot. And I'm really glad to see them still trying to explore different sounds even after Skeleton Icy. I think after the response that album got, I think it'd be really easy to just stick with what you know. And to see that 21 Pilots are still kind of taking risks and still wanting to explore who they are, I will applaud them for that. I said this in my first reaction video, but the whole album itself sounds like its own unique thing, but also there's elements and references and callbacks to other albums. And that in itself makes it feel connected, makes it feel like the ending of the story in a way. It feels very full circle. But at the same time, it doesn't sound like an ending to the storyline at all. I don't know, I just thought it was very strange that during the live stream, Tyler said there was only about 3 songs that applied to the lore, and then some songs didn't really apply to the lore at all. That seems suspicious for an album that's supposed to be the end. I'll talk about that a little more in depth when we get to Paladin Straight. It doesn't sound finished to me. Maybe after I see the Paladin Straight music video, I will feel better about that. But as of right now, I don't feel like it's the end. Especially during the fan event in Columbus recently, when there was a puzzle that suggested that maybe there's a double album or at least an EP that might kind of wrap this up better. I think Tyler also mentioned in an interview that the final battle takes place after the album, which is also suspicious because it's like, bro, I thought this was the end, but anyway, let's get to the actual track list. The album opens with Overcompensate, and I think that this was truly the best move they've could have done. I'm gonna go ahead and say it. I think it's the best album opener they've had. I'm very excited to see this one live. Tyler has mentioned before that he wrote this song to be a concert opener. And he's also kind of learned how to start an album, and I think he absolutely nailed it with this one. I think it's a great way to start an album, get people excited. I think it's a great way to start a concert because it's energetic, you have that build up in the beginning. But I think it's also a great way to set the stage for the actual story that this album is going to be telling. Like starting it right off with Welcome Back to Trench and also the callback to the Bandito lyrics. I think it really sets the tone of where we're at in the story, but also kind of the things to pay attention to. That I created this world to feel some control lyric. Something that Tyler even mentioned during the live stream that he did with Clancy, even though he just went straight to bullying us for the leak, which I did not indulge in. By the way, I think he's really wanting us to pay attention to that lyric and remember that, this is something that he created and now we're ending it. But also the name of the song itself, Overcompensate. Tyler has talked about this a little bit, even before Clancy came out, and that he's always overcompensating for whatever the last album was. Trench was very heavy, so Skeleton Icy wasn't. Because Skeleton Icy wasn't, Clancy tries to be a little bit more heavier again. Tyler said he's always kind of in that cycle of trying to make up for whatever he lacked the last time. To me, it almost feels like he's doing this as a general statement, but also in reference to Skeleton Icy. How the world perceives Skeleton Icy is something that he explores quite a few times in this album. And I think starting off this song with Overcompensate and being like, I'm trying to fix what Skeleton Icy lacked. It's such an interesting tone to start at the very beginning of this album, and I like it. I appreciate the honesty. Moving right along, we have Next Semester, which I absolutely loved the punk sound that this song had, and honestly, I wish it would have come up more in this album, and it kind of does here and there, just not as strongly as Next Semester. There's a couple of times where Josh gets very punk on the drums, and we'll talk about that later. It is by far my favorite single. Really like the sound of Next Semester. Which, speaking of the drums, Josh was very Travis Barker in this, which makes sense considering that the song sounded so punk, and then you think about Blink-182. Travis is obviously a big inspiration to Josh. It was kind of fun to see him kind of lean into his inspirations when a song calls for that, but also kind of make it entirely his own thing. But I could definitely hear there was some Travis in there. I'm not saying that's a bad thing, alright? You listen to the songs I write, you just think, oh, that's Josh Dunn. Like, we're all guilty of it. The bass, drums, and ukulele combo that this song had, it felt very 21 Pilots to me. I thought this with Jumpsuit, and I think this with Next Semester. I think this song is a great example of what this band is capable of, and also their abilities at like full potential. I felt like they were on their A game with Next Semester, and I think this song it has a chance to becoming classic status, in my opinion. I think it might be one of those classic 21 Pilots songs as it ages, but we'll see. I feel very connected to Next Semester because I had to write an entire final paper on it to just analyze the music video and write pages and pages and pages about it. So in that sense, I feel very connected to this because I spent so much time diving into this song and its music video. But I'm okay with it because we love Next Semester. It's a beautiful song. Next up, we have Backslide. I think this song explores a very interesting concept. Something that we all kind of deal with, this idea of wanting to change the past, of wanting to love your past self better, and always thinking like, if I had have done something differently, if I could change something now, would I? And this whole struggle of living in the past so much that it kind of affects your future, because you're putting all this effort into things that already happened when you should be focusing on the things that hasn't happened yet and the things that you can actually change. I think that's what Next Semester is trying to do, kind of in response to Backslide, but also it comes before Backslide. I think putting Next Semester and Backslide in that order is almost kind of like, we're all guilty of this, knowing what's good for you, but also doing the exact opposite of that. Next Semester is aware of like, you can't live in the past, you can't change what happened, you just have to move on and work on what you can change. And Backslide is kind of the exact opposite of that, where it's like, I'm trying so hard to change what already happened, even though I know that I can't, and even though I know that it's affecting the next semester. I just can't move on. So I think that was an interesting combo. And it's certainly not the only time where I feel like songs are kind of answers or responses or progress from the next song, which I'll explain that when we get there. I also like how this song is set up, and again, it seems to be a common theme this album, where the lyrics are set up as a conversation to somebody. In this instance, it is Tyler's younger self. We see that in the music video, but I think you can also hear it very well in the actual bridge of the song. It seems like one Tyler is so exhausted and just clinging on to the past, and this other Tyler in the background is almost pleading him to let go. It almost seems like the present Tyler is trying so hard to have a conversation with this younger version, and the younger version is like, you have to let go. You can't just stay here. I'm not you anymore. You are you, and you have to focus on you. That was such an interesting way to go about writing a song, and it was very cool to hear. And also the kind of wishing I never did Saturday lyric, I think that's setting the stage for what he has to say later. Skeleton Icy seems to be haunting him a little bit in this album. But yeah, Backslide, great song. It was honestly switching out with Next Semester, but I think ultimately why I like Next Semester more is because of that punk sound, but that's completely just like a personal preference of mine. But let's move on to Midwest Indigo. I feel like this one was a bop enough to be a single. Like, you could have released it as a single and I wouldn't be mad at it, even though I think the ones that were singles were good choices. The drums on it, again, were very punk-like. We, once again, kind of see this Travis influence from Josh, which I like. Much like Backslide, we kind of have lyrics that are set up as a conversation. I don't think that Tyler's talking to his younger self in this one, but still, it's such, I don't know, it's such a unique thing to do. I like those. The lyrics, I want love and sunny days, but I'm a bit too old to run away. Once again, seems like a callback to Skeleton Icy, you know, keep your sunny days. And there's a couple of those. I haven't probably picked up on all of them, but I did kind of notice lyrics that were in reference to past lyrics from other albums, and even within the album itself, because Snapback has a reference to Backslide, and those little things just make the album seem connected. It seemed like it's all one continuous story, even though we know that. But just little details like that remind us of, like, this is all connected, this is one story. Now, Tyler said on the live stream that Midwest Indigo is a love letter to Ohio, but I can't help but notice he's repeatedly calling this place cold. The way I interpreted that, it's like you can love something but also accept its flaws and realize that it's not going to be perfect. And let's be real, it's Ohio, it's not going to be perfect. It's Ohio. I can't say anything. I'm not from Ohio, but I'm basically from Ohio. I got a lot of family there. I go to Ohio a lot. So I can appreciate Tyler wanting to love Ohio, but also realizing, like, this place is cold, bro. But I think it was more so in reference to what I said, like, loving something, but also realizing that it has flaws and it's not perfect. And this idea of accepting something that's not perfect and accepting something that kind of sucks, really, is a theme that Tyler talks about a lot, actually, I picked up on. But yeah. Midwest Indigo is an absolute bop. I liked it a lot. Honestly, if they wanted to switch the Craving singles version with Midwest Indigo, I kind of would have liked that better. I understand, like, there's two versions of the Craving and you couldn't necessarily put both of them on the album. I get that. In a world where there was only one Craving, I almost would have wanted Midwest Indigo to be a single before it. But what are we gonna do? Now we're on to Routines in the Night. Oh, I love this one. I just love the sound of it. Both instrumentally and the way Tyler is rapping, it just scratches my noggin. In the lyrics, it seems like Tyler is setting his mind up like a house, like a building, like a place that you can actually explore and walk through, which is kind of the whole basis for the storyline of Trench. And also kind of what we see in Navigating. Routines in the Night is Tyler just thinking, which we all do. Routines in the Night are getting up and exploring this house that is actually his mind. I think if you think about things in that way, it kind of makes it easier to manage. You think about things as a physical thing instead of just feeling. So this whole idea of trying to make your mind a building, of trying to make it a physical place that you can walk through and explore and look at things. Once again, like the Trench storyline, feels like Tyler trying to make sense of what he's feeling, trying to make it a thing that he can observe and study. Also, we have the whole bishop thing with Josh. It seems like in the video we have a missing bishop robe, and then at one point Josh's face gets blurry, which has led some people to think that maybe Josh is blurry face. I don't know if I'm buying that just yet, because Tyler also had red eyes. Okay, I kind of picked up on that. I didn't stick to my guns because it was 4 a.m. and I was exhausted and I was pretty sure that I was like hallucinating. But his eyes are definitely red at some point. And he's got the paint on, and the whole music video kind of looks like Fairly Local when Tyler was blurry face. The fact that Tyler's right in the middle of that shot, right in the middle of the robes, it reminds me a lot of this moment from the Icy tour, where there was the bishops on the screen and then Tyler was like right dead in the center, and once again he was the 9th one. I think this is in reference to blurry face, and it's showing that Tyler is blurry face again. I don't think that it was a nod to Josh. Like I said in that reaction video, I think they only gave Josh a blurry face because the concept of blurry face does not apply to just Tyler. Everyone technically has a blurry face since he's just the manifestations of all of those negative feelings we feel inside, which isn't that great. It could also be in reference to the fact that Josh isn't necessarily real, but we'll get to that. The rapping in this was awesome. I don't know, Tyler got his flow back. I'm loving that. The mix of the rap that was in the verses and then like the actual vocals that we get in the pre-chorus, I think that was a nice way to kind of show variety. Because yes, Tyler can rap, but he can also sing very well. And the fact that he wanted to showcase that at the same time in the same song, I can appreciate the variety that he put in there. Next is Vignette, and I am gonna be honest here, I didn't expect a song like Vignette to make it on the album. At least the actual idea behind it. As Tyler said in the Clancy live stream, Vignette is actually about addiction, which was something that I was not aware Tyler was struggling with, which this song again goes into what I said at the beginning. Tyler being so open and being so authentic, but also being very personal and specific in telling us what he's struggling with. A lot of people pointed out the no, it's not me, it's for a friend lyric, but the lyric that stuck with me the most was there's no way I'm headed there, always sure-footed, educated, and was never scared. Denial is not something that is new to 21 Pilots songs. It seems like it is back with this one, and it comes up a couple times. It seems like Tyler's go-to coping mechanism, if you even want to call it that, is just to deny that things are happening entirely, which is not a good thing, okay? Don't do that. Psychologist here. Don't do that. For a song that is so hard-hitting, it sounds like a bop, okay? It sounds amazing. I'm not sure why we put a little eagle screech in there, but that was fun. This one was the one that was stuck in my subconscious, okay? Because I was sleeping last night back there, and I just like woke up and I was like singing Vignette in my head. So it's wiggled its way into my subconscious. That's how good of a song this one is. But yeah, I love Vignette. I love the way that it sounds, even not going into what it's about. But I also want to applaud Tyler on sharing that with us. Because he really didn't have to, you know what I mean? He doesn't have to share any of these personal details with us, but he does. I think he even said something in the live stream like, you know, we're kind of owed to know how he's doing. I would disagree with that. Not to say that he shouldn't. I very much appreciate that he is being open and being real. But you know, musicians, people who are supposed to be entertaining, don't really have to share those things if they don't want to. So the fact that Tyler is stepping up and even feeling like we're owed that, I don't know, I just want to thank him for that. He's not watching this, but that's very thoughtful of him to want to be so open. Now we're on to The Craving. This song is ranked low for me simply because it is slow. And once again, that's a me thing. That's not saying that this is not a beautiful song. The visuals were very, very sweet. It's just, I think me personally, I have to be in a certain headspace to really fully enjoy a song that is kind of slow and in your feelings. Because, you know, I'm a rocker. I've been getting really into metal lately. I just want a song that's so loud and fast that I just stop thinking. And that's just me, alright? That being said, I do like the singles version of this song better, simply because it is a little faster. The music video for the singles version is also a call out, which I like. Considering that this is a love song, I was not expecting one of the versions to be a call out of the crappy things that the music industry does. But now seeing Jenna's version of the music video, I kind of see why he felt like he could explore that. Because he did give Jenna a sweet version of the song. But at the same time, he's also saying like, I can write a song about my wife and you people will tell me that it's not enough. And it's almost kind of like this, who are you? Who do you think you are? That you're so high and mighty that you can tell me that my feelings and the passion that I put into my art is not enough. Which I think goes straight into Lavish, who is kind of playing up this arrogant persona of assumingly the higher-ups in the music industry. Considering that the Craving singles version music video had people in suits represent the music industry, and then in Lavish, the song right after The Craving, you have Tyler and Josh in suits. I think it is absolutely this idea of how arrogant and kind of silly the music industry people really are. Tyler is very unapologetic in how he feels in both The Craving, the music video, and also Lavish, which I enjoy. Anytime you want to pick apart and rip open the music industry, I'm here for it. As a musician myself, talk about them all you want. Let them have it. The song itself felt very experimental when I heard it for the first time. And these thoughts were only confirmed when Tyler said that he wanted to make a song like this to kind of make roots so where he can branch out to other sounds. Which I enjoyed it. It's my mom's favorite off the entire album, and I liked it too. It felt very bouncy, lighter sounding than what 21 Pilots are used to doing. And honestly, it felt like Lavish was Scaled and Icy if it was done right, and I use that in quotation marks because it seems like the sound of Lavish is accepted better than Scaled and Icy, even though I think Tyler was trying to do similar things with them. In this, I'm trying to do different things, so it's kind of more acceptable when I do even more different things in the future. And then I tried to think about, why do we like the sound of Clancy? Why do we like the sound of Lavish when Scaled and Icy was not really perceived that well? And I think it's because Lavish really feels authentic to them. There was still elements in this song that felt like 21 Pilots, still felt like something that they would do in the past, but also felt very new. I'm not sure if Scaled and Icy had that. I feel you raging in the comments already. I don't hate Scaled and Icy. It's my least favorite 21 Pilots album, simply because I'm not always into pop music. It has to be a really good pop song for me to like it, but I don't hate Scaled and Icy. Let me just put that out there. But in comparison to everything else that they've done, in comparison to what I know that they can do, Scaled and Icy's a little lower on the list. And I mean that with peace and love. I do not think that is a bad album at all. But I think with songs like Saturday, it was almost like he was leaning almost too much into wanting it to be a radio hit, into wanting it to be a pop song, that there was almost kind of this loss of what 21 Pilots felt like, at least in my opinion. The fact that he was kind of able to correct that and give us a song that sounded different, but also felt like 21 Pilots, I think that is the difference between Lavish and then songs off Scaled and Icy. But those are completely my thoughts. If you disagree, then we can just disagree, and that's okay. I also want to talk about the ending lyric to the song, because I feel like a lot of people just don't understand where that came from, and it does feel very out of left field. To me, I interpret that lyric as basically the music industry screwing you over. That's how I interpreted it. Some of you people want to interpret it a little too literal, but I think it is kind of this, the music industry screws you, basically, which isn't that fun. I feel like Navigating and Paladin Straight, once I fully get theories about them and ideas about them, I feel like they kind of deserve their own separate videos, and maybe I'll do that, maybe I won't. But we have this two Josh ordeal. There's two Joshes. Bandito 1 is real, Clancy 1 is not real. What are we gonna do about that? Kind of assumed that Josh wasn't real in general, but apparently there is a real Josh, just not the one we have been seeing recently. The little snippet of My Blood they put at the end of this music video, ooh, it made me so happy. I had mentioned this in videos before that I thought the My Blood music video was foreshadowing as to what was going to happen in Clancy, and that is exactly what happened. When am I ever wrong? Never. I think it goes to show just how much thought and time and how long that this storyline has been planned. Tyler and Josh are geniuses. Just always amazes me when there's moments like these where it's like they have really planned this out since the very beginning. It must be so satisfying to see this actually come to life. And also, I'm pretty sure Navigating, like a little clip of it, was played at the very beginning of the Next Semester music video, which I'm not entirely sure how those are connected still. There's little things like that where I need to figure out, and that's kind of what I want to do the video on when I figure this one out a little more. But as the song sounds itself, it sounds like it could be off Trench. It sounds very Trenchy to me. The bass and drums in it are nice. Alright, I very much enjoyed that. That little drum fill right before the chorus is definitely my favorite part of the song, if not the entire album. It's just so... Ooh, I love toms, bro. I still have to figure out, why are there two Joshes? Why are there two Joshes? Now on to Snapback. This song seems to be connected to Backslide because there is a lyric reference to Backslide. Backslide seems to be like, you know you're on the edge and you're afraid of backsliding. Snapback seems to be, I've already backslid. Backslide was like, I don't want to backslide. Snapback is like, we have backslid. I don't know if that makes sense. Post Backslide is Snapback. There was, I want to say that there was a Be Concerned reference in here. Be Concerned talked about burning bridges. Snapback talked about burning bridges. The fact that a song Be Concerned can still be relevant in this storyline is insane to me. I love it. The fact that they played Slowtown last night live, insanity. Snapback seems to be defining just like the average thing that everyone experiences. You know, self-journey is not linear. There's always going to be times where we make so much progress and then it can feel very disheartening when things go back. But since you're aware of that cycle, since you're aware that things can change so quickly, you're kind of always thinking about that even when things are good. You know, even when things are great, it's like, well, I can lose all of this just like that, which is a very scary concept to dive into. Tyler said that he's very defensive about this one, and I can definitely see why, because once again, kind of the thought process that he's sharing with us seems very personal. Much like what we saw in Next Semester, there is a reference to headlights at the end of this music video. It almost seems like even though Tyler is growing and changing, he's still kind of haunted by this one memory that keeps just bringing him back, and he feel like he can't progress because of that. But also kind of dealing with, you know, I can't make excuses. You know, I've made progress and I'm still in some ways the same person. I keep making the same mistakes. I'm making all this progress just to go right back to where I was. It's a very relatable song, but I can also see why Tyler is frustrated by that thought process. Which leads into Oldie Station. Snapback seemed very resistant to this cycle of constantly being good and then being bad, making progress, going back. Oldie Station kind of seems like to be more accepting of that cycle, and also kind of seems to be a response to how to deal with the events of Snapback, where it's like you just have to push on through. And I think Tyler is also talking about age, and how age and just experiencing this cycle over and over again kind of makes you, I don't want to say numb, but also gives you this kind of strength of like, okay, I've been through this, I know that this is gonna happen. Because of that, because of my experience, I know I have the strength to push on through. And as I mentioned before, it's like little moments like these where songs seem to be answers or responses, or even just like a further thought process from where the other song left off. I really enjoy those moments because I think it's like Tyler is almost giving us advice where it's like, I relate to how you're feeling and I know that this is scary and I've been here. But then there's some songs where it's like, I'm giving you advice, you know, I'm telling you how to get through these feelings. The only reason that I rank this song so low is, to me, Oldie Station felt very the same throughout. There wasn't a lot of change, and I tend to not like songs who kind of stay the same the entire time. That being said, I did like the shouting in the pre-chorus. I thought that was fun. At the risk of feeling dumb, this song once again brings up this concept of denial. And it seems to almost be the result of what has happened in Snapback and Oldie Station, where you feel like you're such a problem and you feel like you have been through this, where it's like, I don't feel like I need anyone. Like, I don't want to be a problem. I don't want to be a burden because I know that these issues will always be here in some way. So I'm just going to try to fix it myself. But also at the same time realizing that sometimes you do need other people. Sometimes you do need a fake Josh Dunn. Sometimes you do need that supportive friend to get you through things. And maybe that's why there is a fake Josh. Maybe Clancy is so determined to do this on his own, but also kind of realizing like, hey, I need someone to check in on me. I need another person to know what I'm going through and to talk to. Maybe he saw Bandito Josh and was like, hey, that's the guy I need to talk to, so let me just make a fake version of him in my head. But ultimately, the risk of feeling dumb that Tyler's talking about is checking in on your friends, even if you think that asking is going to be dumb. Even if you're afraid of being like, are you okay? And them being like, why would you ask that? It's this idea of even when your friends are telling you, I don't need anyone, to still be that person for them. Because ultimately, it's better to have a moment of feeling dumb than to ultimately lose somebody or have a friend struggle. This is a great example of how careful and how cautious and also how well Tyler can deal with these very hard-hitting ideas. This kind of gives me Neon Greystones vibes, where it's such a heavy topic and Tyler can deal with that in a way that's respectful, but also in a way that's like, I can only put this in like easy to digest. Like, he doesn't do it in a way that feels disrespectful. I don't know, and I feel like that's hard to do sometimes. As the song sound itself, I feel like this is what Oldie Station should have been. Risk of Feeling Dumb did kind of start to sound consistent, did kind of start to sound the same, and then it really amped up near the end, which is why I like it better than Oldie Station. I feel like Oldie Station needed a switch up at some point. Now we are at the last song, Paladin Straight, which yes, I heard the ending too, okay? Not my fault Blurryface did not speak up. I told y'all I'm tired, I'm booked and busy, I don't have time to sit around. If Blurryface wanted to say hello, he should have said hello quicker. That is not my fault. This one was the crowd favorite before it was even released. And it was mine because I thought the name was just cool. Unfortunately, it was not my favorite. As a song that's supposed to be the ending, it felt too almost anticlimactic for me. It's too just chill. I was expecting something more intense, something more great. I don't know. I was left wanting more. and I don't want that feeling for an album that's supposed to be the ending. But I think as a song just by itself, you know, if it was a song that wasn't supposed to be the ending, it sounds beautiful. It's a beautiful sounding song. For an ending, I just wanted more. It sounds almost westerny. It sounds westerny, okay? It sounds like we're telling an epic story about cowboys in the West. As I said in the reaction video, it's like cowboys if they were emo. This kind of western ballad sound, I think, is a good way to tell this story, but I don't think it's done. I was wanting more. Which Tyler has said, you know, do you think this is the end? Does it sound like the end? No. Well, no. Which makes me think that there is kind of something else. Because Paladin Straight sounds more so like a setup to the final battle than the final battle itself. Because why is Blurryface saying hello when it's supposed to be the final battle? It's almost like he's ending it as like their meeting and then there'll be a final battle. Like Paladin Straight ends with them facing off, and then there's gonna be a final battle, like, after. Maybe that'll be an EP, maybe that'll be a double album, I don't know. Maybe I'll get a better answer with the music video. Obviously, it's something special since Tyler held off on it, but as of now, I feel like it's not wrapped up that well, but we'll see. As for my top 3 songs, we're going with Routines in the Night, Vignette, Navigating. Feel free to leave your top songs below. How do we feel about this album? Do you think it was a good conclusion to the storyline? Anything you want to share, let me know. Unless it's rude. In that case, keep it to yourself. I don't want to hear it. If you liked the video, please hit like and subscribe. And as always, I will see you in the next one.